the overall problem that you're addressing? What are maybe
So I find this question to be interesting. What does a prison cosmopolitan look like? Right? So think about a city that is full of surveillance, full of policing, and an omnipresent idea of trying to instill fear in the general public, right? And I think we see that now in New York City, right? We just elected a cop or a former cop to be mayor, and Eric Adams has been on a tear since he's been elected about crime in our city, mainly looking at the subway.
Prison landscapes are mostly invisible. What we know and what we see is the police and prisons, right? Those are the most visible aspects of the prison industrial complex. However, it includes parole, which happens in the home and the community life, and also every industry that's invested in the prison industrial complex, which could include, Victoria's Secret or Verizon or the meat industries or Yale University.
And I was really sort of taken with the idea of like the cosmopolitan, like city. And one of the ways that I think about, the city as a sort of carceral or a prison is if I think about gentrification. Certainly when you think about the places where we have lived historically, there are places that have historically been deprived of, obviously, grocery stores or affordable grocery stores or things like pharmacies. And the big one for me that always sticks out is trash removal. And I say this because when you go to other places that are part of a sort of thriving part of a city, they're always clean. But where we live, meaning the global majority, it's always dirty. There's rarely a garbage can. And I think, very much in the 21st century in New York City, in neighborhoods that are being gentrified, I think the garbage can is a marker of gentrification.
We don't see an overwhelming amount of upper middle class, white, older men going to prison. But what do? We see an overrepresentation of young, black, or Latinx men coming from urban, low-income communities. So what does that tell us? It tells us where the police are there, or where are the police policing, who are they policing, who are they giving a warning versus arresting, who's getting a ticket versus a summons, who has to show up in court, who just has to pay a fine. All of those things help create this really complex system of the prison industrial complex.
And we all know what prison looks like, right? But this is a prison too, in some sense, right? Places that are, to quote Fanon, starved of light, starved for food, starved for inspiration. These kinds of he calls them, these villages that are, envious of the places that are outside of them that have all the things that we don't. And they're kind of one and the same, right? Whether you're in a sort of institution, in a building that is seen as a federal institution, as a jail, or you're in a poverty-stricken neighborhood, it's the same thing.
And so this is a cosmopolitan city that is ever expanding right into the home, into the body, into these different technologies. And so an abolitionist city might be a place where, you know, Black technologies of that counter these dominant technologies are not even visible to the state.
The idea of claiming that we live in the richest city in the world, or that we have some of the most wealthy people in the world, yet there are going to be, upwards of 20,000 people sleeping outside tonight, right? That is not something that to brag about, right? You can't say you're so rich, but then have the opposite. So, so for me, it looks like investing in affordable, clean, safe housing. It means equitable education for all, including resources that are not just STEM related, but arts, recreation, leisure, and also vocational, as well as kind of more of a liberal arts education. It means universal health care that's focused not just on the physical, but on the mental. It means having universal basic income. We have the money. We have the resources. What we really need is the will to invest in people, invest in care, invest in compassion, and not invest in violence, invest in harm, or invest in private interests.
I hope it's a place with trees. I say this because, if you ever walk around in poor neighborhoods, playgrounds don't have any shade, right? It's almost as if there are all kinds of ways in which, and it amazes me how much this is thought out, ways in which that we're gonna burn up, kill ourselves, right? Before we're able to be killed by them, whether it's a psychological break or, a financial one or whatever it is. But I hope that it's a place of trees. I hope it's a place of green. I hope it's a place of less cement and more green. I hope it's a place where people can speak freely without fear. I'm talking about a utopia almost, right? But I think about it as being so many things that this is not, but at the same time, a lot of things that this is, right? It's a place where we can sit here together and talk, right? And we still have this space. I don't know what that means, but it means that for a moment we have fellowship. Right. I think about the place that, it could be a place that we've always hoped for, but never dared to really go after, never really dared to try to achieve it. Yet we talk about it, yet we march about it, yet we protest about it. We draw pictures, we imagine it, we have poetry that talks about it. But I hope it's a place that becomes, a reality, not just those things, those places, those mythical places that exist in our thoughts and ideas and our